All right. This one's it, guys. I think this is going to be the one podcast I do where it might get taken down by YouTube. Oh, man. How's everyone doing out there? Still weathering this COVID, this cold. Did you know that mentioning COVID and then expanding on it pretty much at all will get you shut down from YouTube, get you removed from Facebook, get you removed from everything? It's a weird time period that we're all doing right now. I feel like we should all just board a jet and just take off to space. And then we should all put on like little astronaut outfits and then just launch ourselves from the spaceship in the universe while we're up there within the clouds, within the planets. We should just all land somewhere. We should all repopulate. We should have sex with the closest organism near us, and we could reproduce with an alien, and we could just start over. Because if this is a simulation, if we were not meant to continue the life form of a Homo sapien, and we are meant to transcend into a different form of a biological being, we're supposed to be a plant with 2 heads, 2 hearts, 1 brain, with 6 arms and 3 legs and 2 eyes, then I think it's time for us to take on that responsibility and give it a go. It seems like everywhere you turn right now, shit is just getting weirder and weirder and weirder and stranger by the minute. We have the United States of America, the president of the United States of America, sitting on Twitter, firing out tweets left and right. I'm just going to read a few of them. And you know what? Thank God for this, dude. This is the most entertaining thing we all have right now. Dude, if it wasn't for Donald Trump, there would be nothing for us to talk about. There would be nothing for us to talk about. Love him or hate him. Dude has 80 million followers. How many people are in the United States? 340 million. And I'm just going to say all of them are American, even though they're not. So 340 divided by 80. Just kidding. 80 divided by 340. 24% of the United States population follows Donald Trump. Shit is getting weird. We have Donald Trump putting out a tweet 53 minutes ago. I'm recording this on Monday. With a video of it looks like that guy who ran against Barack Obama in 2016, no, 2008. Oh, Mitt Romney. Yeah, that guy, Mitt Romney. And just a bunch of clips of him and stuff like that. And you got Donald Trump over there doing his, like, expanding his arms and shit, whatever. Doing what he does. And the tweet is just a video of CNN collage with him saying loser. Exclamation mark. The one before that, oil is back. Here's another one from Team Trump that he quoted and retweeted. And the tweet says, it took 2 months for Joe Biden to admit that President Donald Trump's decision to restrict travel from China was the right call. This was a colossal fail on Biden's part. America can't afford Biden's China-centric approach to every issue. And he quoted it saying, Sleepy Joe is wrong again. Transition to greatness. Reopen our country. Wouldn't he be able to have that call to reopen the country if he is the president? Maybe not. Maybe that's why this country is so great, is because you can't just make decisions like that. You know, it's just weird. Here's another one, the one that I put up a few weeks back, that I think I just showed people. It was in the White House room, the press conference room, and a CNN reporter is in there saying that they don't need to wear a mask. There's no reason to wear the mask. They take the mask off right when the whole thing is over, the press conference is over. And then Donald Trump quotes, he quotes it saying a CNN faker and then retweets his unquoted thing. The number of coronavirus cases is strongly trending downward throughout the United States. A few exceptions. Very good news indeed. So we're living in this period right now where our top source of news besides coronavirus is Donald Trump going after people. Everywhere you look. He put out a few tweets saying ObamaGate. We have a president going after a former president of the United States. And here's just it says ObamaGate is an old allegation given a new name. As early as March 2017, Trump alleged that Obama had illegally wiretapped a billionaire businessman at Trump Tower during the 2016 presidential election campaign, comparing the alleged surveillance to the Nixon-era Watergate scandal. The following year, Trump claimed that the FBI had planted an informant inside his campaign, dubbing the alleged conspiracy Spygate. This was written by VOA News 3 days ago. So essentially what it was at the time, President Obama was the president of the United States of America. I guess he didn't want Donald Trump to become the next president. So the way that they were able to, the way that this is all alleged, though, this is what Trump is saying. It could be true. It could not be true. Barack Obama as a person seemed like a good person. He seemed like he had good morals. I don't know. It seemed like it. He was a smart guy. Went to Harvard. His wife seemed like a great person. The kids looked like great people. He looked like the perfect person to run the country. But who knows? You become president and you have all these goals, and you run your whole campaign off of this idea that you're going to get this done and that done and this done, and that done. You're going to make this change for that group of people. You're going to do this for that group of people. 2 years go by. You're still telling people what you're going to do. 3 years go by. And then at the beginning of the third year, nothing's really got done, but you tell them because everything takes time. So now you got to start running for another election because you realize 4 years is just not enough time to do what you want to do. So then, the fourth year comes around and now you're accepting money from random organizations that you may not even know. You may start getting into some sketchy shit that that your moral compass allowed you to stay away from for a while, because you knew it wasn't right. And maybe at a time you didn't want to take the easy route because you didn't want to get become corrupt. And I'm not just saying Barack Obama. I'm saying this is just how it works. This is how it works with every job. This is how it works at every organization. All of us have experienced this. We've seen this. We've watched this happen. But it gets to a point where people have a plan. They know what to do. I mean, Mike Tyson said it best. We all have a plan until we get punched in the face. And I think this is with these allegations that Donald Trump's putting out every third day about this ObamaGate thing. If it's true, it could be a disaster. It could be a crisis. I don't think we're going to get any factual information for a while. I think right now this coronavirus thing is taking on an entire scandal of its own. Who knows where this came from? Some people say wet market. Some people say it was chemically released. Some people even say it's not even real. And then what's being proven, and this is what's going to get this video demonetized, maybe taken down. I'm not too sure. If it is taken down, it is up on Apple Podcast, unless they decide to take it down too. But it's being shown that the stats, the people dying from coronavirus, are completely skewed. They're not even accurate. Like, let me just, how many pure Corona deaths. Well, this right here, I don't know if you can't really find how many pure coronavirus deaths there are, and I think what pure means is like if somebody dies of, maybe I can compare it to if you get hit by a car, or no, that's not good, but if you die of the flu is what kills you. It's not an underlying health effect. The flu is what killed you. So this happened in San Diego. The supervisor, this is from the San Diego Union Tribune, Jim Desmond, who's a supervisor in San Diego, he says that they only have 6 pure coronavirus deaths. Out of 3.3 million people have died purely of coronavirus. I mean, what number are we trying to get to with those odds? I mean, it's incredible. We want to be safe and we can do it, but unfortunately, it's more about control than getting the economy going again and keeping people safe. And this is what's scary. You know, this is something that I think is, this is possibly terrifying. Their life is no less valuable than someone else's life who does not have underlying medical conditions. This is not just San Diego. This is how this is done throughout the entire nation in terms of identifying who has died of coronavirus. Following the news conference, Desmond said in an email, "Any loss of life for any reason is worth preventing." He added, "Clearly, those with underlying circumstances are most vulnerable. I believe we can keep people safe and reasonably open our businesses." And I would agree with him. You know, I would agree with him 100%. I think there's different tactics we could be doing as a people to open up the economy, so people don't end their lives. I mean, there's so many people out there right now who are in a situation where money is starting to get tight. You know, the kids are going stir crazy. They have nowhere to go. They're not going to school. You know, kids are getting in trouble. People are starting to go back on the streets. People are starting to act like they've been locked up, like they've been locked up in a cage for years, you know, for months. And I think it's getting to the point where people are starting to question the leaders and what are we doing? Why are we still at a point where we can't go anywhere? You know, and my opinion has changed completely on this. And I think the reason why my opinion has changed, and I'm not afraid to sit here and tell you that my opinion has changed. My opinion before was, yes, stay on lockdown. Stay on lockdown, because at the time, there wasn't really hard evidence to show just how aggressive this coronavirus is. But as time goes on, in my experience, I'm not a professional, but the way I'm viewing it right now as time goes on, is this is just a bad cold. You know, a bad cold that's killing people who are the average age of 81. And look, I'm not sitting here and saying that I'm not considering the people who have passed away. I get it. That's terrible. It's sad when people die. It is. But it's so hard to make this statement that if somebody dies and then you see a sad story, this 18-year-old or 16-year-old dies of coronavirus, that can't be more fire to keep. That can't be what keeps the candle burning to keep shit locked down. And what do I mean by that? And why do I say that? And I know that's going to ruffle feathers, and I know that sounds insensitive. It sounds insensitive, but I don't think it is. And the reason why I don't believe it's insensitive is strictly because of the fact that tonight, as we all go to bed, someone's going to drink too much, they're going to have too much alcohol, and they're going to drive on the road, they're going to crash and hit a car, kill themselves, and then kill a family of at least 2. That's going to happen tonight in this country. It's going to happen. And if he doesn't kill a family, he's going to kill himself. And if he doesn't kill himself, he's going to kill one other person. But somebody's going to consume too much of a toxin that leads to death, get behind a wheel of a weapon, and drive it into a fucking car and kill somebody. And tomorrow morning, what you're not going to hear on national news, CNN, Fox, BBC, or whatever it is, you're not going to hear about it. You're not going to hear about alcohol leading to this drowsy and incompetent human being who made a terrible decision You're not going to hear the alcohol industry get in trouble. There's going to be no blame put on them. You're not going to hear a car company getting in trouble for making a car that can't read someone's alcohol level and doesn't start up if someone's drunk. But you'll be damn sure if someone dies of coronavirus right now at the age of 15 or 16 years old. Once again, I don't want this to come off as being insensitive because I'm very aware of the people who are dying, and it's a terrible thing. And I'm not saying it's not a terrible thing. I just want to make that point clear. But you'll be damn sure to wake up tomorrow morning and on Fox, CNN, BBC, MSNBC, whatever it is, what ABC, whatever your news channel is, if someone dies at 15 years old of coronavirus, it's going to be all over the news. It's going to be all over the news. The kid who died of pneumonia last night, the kid who died of the flu last night, that won't be on the news. And what I'm saying, and I think what I'm trying to make a point here, take it or leave it, if this makes me a bad person, I think we have to be aware of the fact, and we have to come to this understanding that this shit is not going away. Coronavirus is here to stay. Is there going to be a vaccine for it? Maybe, but it's a virus, so it mutates. It's always going to be here, right? The same way that the common cold is always here. The common cold gets into people's kidneys and it kills them. It kills people. The flu kills people. We have vaccines for it, but we just accept that it's going to kill a certain amount of people each year. And should we give up? I'm not saying give up, but what I am saying is that it gets to a point where we're being locked down for a monster that we can't even see, that is putting us into a panic more than it is actually harming us. I mean, you go out in the public these days, and if you don't have a mask on and you walk by somebody, and I'm talking outside, if I'm inside, I'm not ignorant. I'll put on a mask. If that's what the rules say, I understand. I have a right. The First Amendment, I get it. Be a patriot, cool. That's fine. But I'll put on a fucking mask. I'll put on a mask. I'm not going to be an arrogant asshole. I get it. I'm going to wear a mask. I'm going to be safe. And also at the same time that I'm saying all this, I'm still safe about it. I'm still taking the proper precaution. I'm still washing my hands. I'm still putting on a mask where I need to put on a mask. I'm not being a jerk about it. I'm not being like some people that I know who are going into stores and deliberately to cause a fucking scene because they're a 40-year-old child walking into a store, standing in front of a clerk without a mask on, where the sign says 10 times before you come in the store, no mask, no service. Put on a fucking mask. Put on a mask, bro. Like, stop being an asshole. Don't be an asshole. What are you, an 8-year-old kid? I'm following the rules. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. But I do understand the other side of it. There is a give and take. There's a point. There becomes a point where you're losing the benefits, and I think that point is approaching us very soon. If not, we could already be there, because I think we're putting ourselves in such an economic disaster. Only 6 people have died from pure coronavirus in San Diego. Most of the country's opening up. I'm trying to look up the U.S. unemployment rate right now. It's pretty high. I do know it's high. So, this is crazy. And we all know that when unemployment goes up, alcohol consumption goes up, drug-related deaths go up, suicides go up, rates of depression go up, homicides go up, homelessness goes up, anxiety disorders go up, people in prison goes up, everything goes up. Unemployment is the worst thing someone can go through. Not having a purpose is the worst thing someone can go through. And that's what makes having a job so fucking powerful, is that it gives you a North Star. It gives you something to work towards. Even if it's something that's not in the grand scheme of things economically, that that doesn't have that high of a return of a threshold when it financially. But if you do have a job to clean toilets 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, it gives you something to do. It gives you a routine. It gives you a purpose, and I think that purpose is by far the most important thing. I mean, by far the most important thing. I mean, there's a reason why people who are unemployed have higher rates of depression and have higher rates of anxiety and higher rates of suicide. And I think that's obvious. It gives you something to work towards. It gives you meaning to your day, even if your job isn't that important. But if you just look at this, January 2020, unemployment was 3.6%, February 3.5%, March 4.4%, April 14.7% unemployment. And that number's just going to go up. 16 years and older. That's that's terrifying. That's terrifying, and I think that's something that we have to be aware of. And this is when I think it's getting dangerous now. The reason why I think it's getting dangerous now, and I'm going to be very transparent with everybody right here. Ever since that $3 trillion bill got passed by the U.S. government, to give money back to businesses, to give money back to people, employees who are now unemployed by no fault of their own. The owners, it's not their fault. It's the government. It's the government's fault. It really is. I believe it is the government's fault at a local level, a state level, and a federal level. And I know they're just trying to do what's best for us. And honestly, at the same time, I think it's so hard to say what if, and because we don't know. If we didn't close everything down, we could all be dead. I mean, it could have been a wildfire. It slowed down the rates of everything. Thank God for all the first responders who worked through this and sacrificed time and really put in the hours when most of us were not doing that. I think we're frankly, we're blessed for them. We're blessed for them. Thank God. And I don't want to take anything. I'm not taking anything away from them. I don't want that to come off as I'm taking anything away from them. Grateful for them. I have 2 police officers that live here at my house. I'm grateful for what they do. But just for me, in my position, when my place of employment had to shut down, it was scary, right? It was scary because it was unpredictable. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know the future. Nobody knew the future. My bosses didn't know the future. The owners didn't know the future. The people in Maryland didn't know the future. The leaders didn't know the future. Colleges went out. No one knew the future of that whole situation. Everybody was scared. Didn't know what the fuck to do. It was early March. I filed for unemployment. I got put on unemployment. Tax returns came in, which was a decent amount of money there. Unemployment was about $250 a week. And I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. I think I am. We'll see. What is about $250 a week, and then $600 addition each week for that from the state of Maryland. So I'm making about $900 a week right now, not doing anything. And the personality that I have and the person that I am, I would much rather work than make that money for doing nothing. That's just me. That's me as a person. It's a personality I've developed. That's what I believe in. That's what my morals align. Um, I was a college student. I was also a full-time worker, so I got the stimulus check too, the $1,200 check. And so I couldn't go out, so I was home all day. So right now I'm at the point where I've saved the most money in my entire life up to this point right now, because money's just coming in left and right from different corners. From I don't even know where. It's coming in. And I think a lot of people are looking at that as it's just a positive, and I'm not. I get nervous because I know there's no such thing as free money. I know that money's coming in from somewhere. I know somebody's paying for it. I'm probably paying for it in the future, in the long run, because this $3 trillion isn't just going to go away. This money just didn't come from anywhere. It came from somewhere. It was produced somewhere. It's a promise that has to be made up somewhere down the line. That $3 trillion is going to have to transpire, And I think a lot of people are at the point now where they're making more money now on unemployment, on the stimulus check, on tax returns, on any other type of government given money. They're making more money now than they have from their job. This is something that I don't believe is being talked about enough. That's a recipe for fucking disaster. It really is. People are lazy by nature. A lot of people are lazy. I know a lot of people who would sit back and collect that unemployment check and not work. And they're okay with that. And I think that's a lot of people, man. There's going to be a lot of people doing that. There's going to be a shit ton of people doing that. And that's what scares me. Like, that's the scariest part about all this for me, is when we want to go back to a normalcy, back to a life before COVID. I don't know if that's even possible right now, because people who were at the bottom working their asses, and I'm not including me in this. I'm a very lucky person. I'm privileged. I'm a lucky person. But there's a lot of people who've been busting their ass, struggling for so long, just barely keeping their head above water, barely paying their rent, and just barely doing anything. But they had a purpose. It's hard to see, but they had a purpose. And then boom, they get laid off, they file for unemployment, and they're making more money each week than they were before, but not having to work 40 hours, just sit at home all day. That's a recipe for disaster. And I think that is a clear indication of where socialism can go wrong. I think a lot of people hear that and they say, well, that's perfect. Why would you not want that? Why would you think that's a bad thing? Well, it's a bad thing because a society without passion, a society without a burning desire to better themselves is a society that's already shot themselves in the foot. Is a society that is going to fall down and stop progressing and is going to get trampled by another group of people. And they're going to be ridden with depression and sadness. They're going to go back in their holes and never see the light of the day again. I know a lot of people who are at the point where they're making more money now than they ever have on unemployment. On unemployment, man, they're making more money. So they're not saying anything. They're not saying a damn thing. I don't want that. I'll give them my unemployment today if it meant to go back to work. And I think it's one of those things where you say that, and in my head I'm like, fuck, you kind of want that money. But I want that money, but at the same time, I want to work. I want that routine back. I want to be able to do something. I want to feel like I'm doing something. I want to feel productive. I want to feel like a member of society, a productive member of society. I want to feel like I'm giving back to my community again. I think that's what people want again. And I think there's a lot of people who have taken advantage of the fear of us, of the American people, and they've grasped so much power that I think it's gotten to the point where it's hard to really relinquish power. Once power is given up so easily and taken from somebody or an establishment, aka the government, it's not going to be given back overnight. It's going to take time if it does come back. And the most common way for power to come back is through war, you know? And I think it's scary. I'm an optimist, though, through everything. I am. I'm an optimist. I do truly believe it will be okay. That's just my perspective on it. But I do get nervous because the reality is there's 14.7% unemployment. That's up 10% unemployment. That's, I don't know, 10 million more people. I don't know. That's a lot of people. 10 million more people filed for unemployment. And it looks like at the beginning of a depression. And then on top of that, we have Donald Trump saying ObamaGate. He's yelling, he's pointing fingers and yelling at ex-presidents, and it could be one of the most craziest scandals of all time. But it's just, if that's the truth, then good. I guess he should be doing that. But I think it points more at just the comical situation that we're all experiencing. I think that's what I'm really trying to get at here is how hilarious it is that our biggest news is Donald Trump laughing at an ex-president. You know, who knows, man? Who knows? I want to go over just one thing before I end this podcast. I just want to share another one of my favorite quotes. I'm reading the book Maps of Meaning by Jordan Peterson, and I'm almost done with it. I'm probably going to finish it today or within the next week or so. I have about 150 pages left. And I just wanted to tell you guys, I just wanted to share this one quote. By the way, Maryland is starting to open up again, which is amazing. We have, I think, barbershops opening, nail salons starting to open. I think the stay-at-home order has lifted, so you can go out. The beaches, I was at the beach last weekend. It's 80 degrees, and everybody was out. It was like it wasn't even closed. Next podcast, I'm going to talk about the new obsession that I found myself in. I'm going to go deep into that. My new rule I have for myself when it comes to obsessions. Yeah, I'm excited to share this with you. Little bit of positivity. And I think a lot of people are starting to struggle now with that. I think my friend or somebody I know parked in the middle of 395 at 1 a.m. in the middle of the highway right in front of DC. It's actually a fucking cool ass photo. Super cool photo. Yeah, I think a lot of people are struggling right now with their mental health because it has gotten to the point where it is like, okay, are we done yet? We're still in lockdown. I get it, but I'm ready to get back at it. It's gonna be okay. Just keep doing it. We're gonna get through this together. I just want to leave you guys with this one quote. I'll let you guys go. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe on YouTube, and please rate it on Apple Podcasts. We're closing into 100 ratings or reviews. Please write a review if you want to, or just leave it a 5-star review. We're closing into 100 reviews. We're also closing into 100 episodes. Astonishing. Thank you so much for that. I'm reading the book Maps of Meaning right now, and I love this sentence. He wrote it, Dr. Jordan Peterson. It says, Childhood represents existence prior to the discovery of mortality. I love that quote. Our lives, the first years of our life are so innocent, so beautiful. Colors are brighter. Everything is just better and happier around you. I think a lot of that has to do with that time of your life you aren't aware of the outcome of this world is death. And I don't think you're aware of it at that age. And that's what makes life so beautiful. When you're doing really well in life, you forget about the end result of life. You forget about the nihilistic thought of it. I love that quote. I don't know why. It's dark. It's a dark quote. I tend to favor darker quotes. I don't know why. I just like I tend to love the ocean, but I have the greatest fear of the ocean, but I love it. I love it in the sense that it's just so big and so expanding, and it's something I don't understand, and it scares me. It has so much power, and I am so scared of it because of all the same things. I don't understand it. It's so big. It's so powerful. It can kill me in a second. Same thing with space, the sun. They put you in check. They make you feel like a normal-sized person. They make you feel like a normal person. But that's it, guys. That's it for this podcast. I got a final today. You guys are watching this podcast. I'll catch you guys in episode 89 with my new obsession. It has something to do with my 2 feet. That's all I'm going to say. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Show this podcast love. I'll catch you guys on episode 89. Peace out. Thank you. See ya.